So I'm going to SSH into this GLFS machine. I'll have to do it as root because there's no ordinary user at the moment. As I say, it is as much as possible just the basic LFS 12.3 system. If I show you the LFS release, there it is there. And you can see it was built about a month ago now. And yes, I did auto build it with the ALFS. Not going to sit there for hours typing all that stuff in. And as I said previously, I've already copied the archives onto here. They're all here waiting to be used, exactly as it was for GLFS on MLFS. The only thing is I haven't deleted the what was it called, Seat D archive, so I'll delete that and that should be ready to go. So I'm going to step through. I might not mention certain things because it's less about building GLFS. It's more about trying to get it to work on 32-bit. So if I whiz through some bits, it's because maybe I think it's not really relevant to the 32-bit side of this. But where the 32-bit part does matter, I will be pausing for thought. I did do a few things which I think I'm not going to do this time round when I tested this, mainly because they're unnecessary. It's not totally clear what to do sometimes in the book for a pure 32-bit, but sometimes you do need to stop and read to understand, to make it a bit clearer as to what should be done. So I'll start with, in fact, if I find out, let's see if I can find, yep, see it says here, if you want a 32-bit, don't bother with these instructions, just follow the normal installation instructions. That makes sense. When you go to, let's go and have a look at, say, something like, oh, I don't know which one would, let's have a look at LLVM, for example. Now that's got a 32-bit and a 64-bit. Well, here you've got switches such as this to force 32-bit compilation and things like this to force or tell the compiler that you're using a 32-bit system. Well, that's obviously unnecessary. So all you need to do is to build the standard instructions, i.e. the code or the compile instructions that you would be putting in for the 64-bit part. There's nothing there specific to 64-bit or 32-bit, and that, I guess, is the only thing that needs to be checked when putting in these instructions. So that's what that bit is saying. Just follow the normal installation instructions and then obviously skip the bit that says for 32-bit do this. So that's basically all that needs to be done. There is, yeah, and then it says here what happens is you build it, then there's a make disk clean, or you might have to delete files, and then for the configure and meson, you've got these extra parameters again, as I just said. Well, we don't need to worry about that, and we don't even need to worry about this. We're on a pure 32-bit machine, pure 32-bit OS. It's nigh on impossible that anything other than 32-bit will be compiled. So I'm going to start by going through the bash setup, shell startup files, basically configuring the system, hopefully get a nice pretty prompt here to make it a bit easier to see what I'm doing, and just get the system into a position where it's ready to start compiling the actual build itself. So let's have a look to see what we've got with the profile. So yeah, we've just got this basic profile, and as I remember, we've got to put this into, I think this is i18n file that gets created in the profile.d directory as we go through these instructions. So I'll start by copying this bit in. And let's have a look at that now. Yep, so that's in there. Then we're going to create a directory to store various profile scripts. Read line 1, umask, and the i18n. So this is the bit where I need to copy and paste this here. So whatever you've got set in there, that's what you need to copy, and then just copy the rest of that to complete that. I'll just check that. So there's the umask one, there's the input RC one, and there's the i18n one. So that looks all okay. And that's that one. So then we've got a bit about multi-live. Well, obviously we're not doing multi-live, so we can probably skip a lot of this. Oh, what does it say there about Steam? Yeah, when I was testing this, I did have a problem with, I think it was Steam. It seemed to wanted to be loading 64-bit libraries. So I'm not sure if that's a limitation of Steam, that it does need to be run on a 64-bit, but it also has 32-bit code, or if it's something that I did wrong. So we'll find out about that when we come to that. So this is obviously about installing MLFS, which is irrelevant to this because we're just going for a native 32-bit build. Now this is a bit I'm going to do differently. It says about creating personalities, and what I did here was to create the personalities for the i686, i.e. the 32-bit parts, and I don't think this is relevant because there is effectively only one personality. It's not 64-bit and 32-bit, it is only 64-bit. So I think the default should be sufficient for any packages that I install. And I don't think I need to do anything else. I don't think this will work, will it? No. See, if I copy the standard, what would be copied for 64-bit, it's incorrect because it says 64-bit there. I don't know, this would be wrong because I would imagine on this build that would actually be user lib, not lib32. Yes, there's a lib there, but obviously there's no lib32 and certainly no lib64 or anything. So I'm not sure anything is correct, to be quite honest. So I'm just going to ignore this, and if I do get package config errors, then I know I'll need to come back here and do something about it. So yeah, I think this is not required. As I say, I did do this, and this means that at least that search path was wrong, and that one was wrong because they don't exist. That might be relevant actually. Yeah, it is, but there's already stuff that's been put in there anyway. So as you can see, when Linux from Scratch was built, there's the kmod and udev have got package config files in there. So it's probably a default. It obviously works as it is. So yeah, I'm going to take a chance and just go without doing anything on this page. I think that's purely because there are two different personalities. They have to be defined. and segregated, if you like. Toolchain file, across toolchain file. Again, this is mentioning 32-bit, a lib32. That doesn't really exist. So I don't think the native toolchain file, well, it's going to be native, and the cross one, I guess, is going to be the same thing. So I'll skip that as well. And we're at the shared dependencies, so it's ready to build some packages now. So the only thing I'm going to do now is to copy my little bash rc script into etc profile.d with some nice settings that I've got for when I log in. So that doesn't need to be executable, so that's okay. I'm going to edit that just to check the settings are as I want them to be. So I've got a make flags, a test suite flags, and a ninja jobs there, all set to the number of processes, which should be equal to 2 on this machine. And what I'll do is just add in an alias for SUE, which equals sudo -esu, and I'll remark that out at the moment because I'm not sure if I've got SU at the moment. I probably haven't, because a sudo at the moment. No, I haven't, because I haven't got an ordinary user yet. So if I source etc profile again, I should get a nice prompt, so it just makes things a little bit easier to read for me. So now I've done that, what I'm going to do is to create a user. So is it add user? I can never remember which way around it is. No, it's user add. User add -m Kernotex and password Kernotex. And I'm going to put in a password, and I should be able to, yeah, that's okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out now and log in directly as Kernotex now, so I don't need to put a user in. Oops. And that's it, I'm in there. CD GLFS. I'm not sure what permissions I've got. No, so I can't create anything in here. No, so I'm going to have to change the ownership of GLFS to Kernotex. Oops. Put in the roots password. Now if I go back into GLFS, yep, that's better now. I should be able to create stuff. And all the packages are still owned by root, so it means that I won't be accidentally deleting them. What I might need to do is to change the ownership of these directories. Let's just become root again and edit the profile. I think I might need to change something else in that. Yeah, let's remove these. We'll get a little bit of colour, for at least for the directories. Right, so if I do su -c chown Kernotex, and I want to change every single one of these. So app, LLVM, font, I'll put a space in, might help. Font, TWM, lib, and XCB utils. Put in the root password again. So each one of those directories is owned by Kernotex, so I shouldn't have any permissions problems at all now. I hope. I think I've got everything. So yeah, I'm able to carry on now. So connecting to the internet, well, that's obviously already done because I'm. Oh, what does it mean on here actually? Let's try and ping my server. Yeah, so that's working fine. If it's needed, yes, it is needed. Come to think of it, because some packages download while they're testing. I think, I'm not sure, while they're installing. And as I say, I'm not going to be running tests, so that hopefully shouldn't be an issue. But it's working anyway if it is.